Today, we're going to discuss our critical future. Edgar Cayce and the Akashic Records. What were they? And what were the messages that he gave us about this new era, this new consciousness that we're going into? This is critical. It's happening right now. And I'm going to give you not only the steps to how to do it, but I'm going to explain exactly how consciousness works, how you can go into the higher consciousness, and what is required of us here in these challenges to do that in a way I've never heard online about Edgar Cayce and this important message that I'm going to share with you today. Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube. I'm here to help you break through fear because it's an illusion. It is a choice. It doesn't seem like you have a choice, but it is. And as soon as we break through it, we go into what we're going to talk about today, the one consciousness. Now, all of our struggles and strife here on earth are with divine purpose. I don't want you to worry anymore and think, oh my gosh, I shouldn't be here. This shouldn't be happening. It is supposed to be happening. What are you doing with it? I'm going to share with you what Edgar Cayce said the Akashic Records are, what is one consciousness, and what are the stages of one consciousness, including the example of Christ, which he gave. We're going to send messages out through our observation and what we focus on, that this is what we want for our new world. Positive messages and instructions to get there. Because that future, that reality, is within your control. I'm going to teach you how to access that today. I'm going to share an overview and then go into specific details about Edgar Cayce and what he said we must do in this phase so we can understand it. Now, we're going to talk about these places in our body that are super important because the physical body is part of this transition. I did a video on DNA. It is being upgraded. What does that even mean? But let me explain how one consciousness works in your life. Today, I'm going to share the 12 essential principles of Edgar Cayce, emphasizing that all life is interconnected and that the mind serves as the builder. But how do we control it? You're going to learn that today. The importance of spiritual ideals and the 3 levels of the mind. Do you know what they are? We're going to go over that also. And how Cayce will give a practical guide today from all of his teachings for integrating body, mind, and spirit to fulfill your own unique life purpose. Let's talk about what are the 12 essential principles of Edgar Cayce's philosophy. I didn't know he had 12. The Cayce dozen. It consists of 12 principles that represent the core of his philosophy of life and spiritual growth. This is, if you didn't do any other one and you just did this one and you believed it and knew it, everything is connected. All is one. This is his foundational principle. It emphasized a mystical belief in the underlying unity of all things, the one consciousness, regardless of distinctions like light and dark, good and bad, even frequencies. It's still one connected thing. Practical mysticism involves returning to the world of distinctions and applying this sense of oneness to everything we do. So we are in the world of distinction, separation, and then we have to apply the principle that we're still one interconnected thing. Number 2, you're going to love this one. Life is purposeful. Doesn't seem like it. Why? I know you're probably saying that at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're sweating, worried about your bills, your relationship, the world. Every person is born to make the infinite finite. This is your purpose. Every person is born to make the infinite finite by bringing the spiritual world into the daily material world. All right? So finite and the infinite become one. But right now we're operating like finite. We believe in death and endings, and we believe that we're separate from one another. So each individual has a unique soul purpose, a personal mission. Not all are the same, of course, and you might not think yours is important. And it could be just to raise the frequency. It could be to help your neighbor. It could be to come back and tell one person that they are loved. You are equipped with talents and skills to do that. Everyone is. That promotes both personal spiritual awakening and the well-being of others. Everything that you do affects others. So, what are you doing with these skills? Are you sending light and love? It doesn't have to always be physical. We're going to approach number three, approach life as an adventure. I like this one. Life should be viewed as a playful search for the truth. Right? Why do we play games? We have to start at the bottom. We get knocked down by Pac-Man, and you go back down and back up. You keep going back and back and back. Well, this is no different, except for it's a little more serious, right? It's not as pleasant. Individuals learn only by testing ideas in their own lives and encouraging people to take only what personally works for them based on their own research and application. Take what works for you. There's no right nor wrong. Four, be non-competitive. Show compassion. I used to throw a tennis game to my ex-husband. He finally figured out what I was doing because he got so upset when he lost, and I thought it didn't mean that much to me, and I'd throw the game. Of course, it made it worse when he found out I was doing that. Driving for competitiveness and comparing oneself to others for superiority paralyzes soul growth. And I'm not saying you shouldn't go play the tennis game and want to win. But if it creates enjoyment, because of course we want to win the race, but watch that the ego isn't in charge of that. Compassion is the alternative, the capacity to experience equality with others and serve them in a way that demonstrates the oneness of humanity. Five, take responsibility for yourself. Each soul is accountable for his own life. You're equal to everything and everyone. You must use your own free will to promote healthy, purposeful living. I can't do that for you. No one can. You can pray to Christ all you want, but Christ's answer is going to be, you hold that power. I told you this. Do it. That's the learning capacity. Rather than blaming external factors like family, government, individuals, you must take responsibility for their challenges and find the resources to resolve them. This is where the unity comes together. I have this puzzle piece and you have yours, and they fit together beautifully to make a perfect picture. Without that, we have nothing but fragmentation and conflict. Look ahead rather than back. That's number 6. Although Cayce's readings addressed reincarnation and the influence of the past, his emphasis was always on the future because the current moment creates that. So we have to get this in check. Past lives are meant only to help understand the present. Individuals are encouraged to make choices today that will create the best possible results for their future. So today, it's always today, today creates the future. What are the thoughts? Watch every one of those. They're creating your future. Are you always in worry? You're creating the same thing that you're in right now. Lack, worry. Oh, this never happened. Self-sabotage. So it continues the loop. You can change it. Switch the thought. Number 7, changing anything starts with an ideal. All personal change must begin at the level of motives and purposes, which Cayce called the ideal. Choosing a spiritual ideal like love or oneness shifts one's intentionality, allowing them to see opportunities for creative expression where they once saw obstacles. If you are shooting for just material things, that's going to wear off real quick. This is why when we go to the spiritual realms, you see people that get all the stuff and they're really unhappy because then they realize that didn't solve their problems. So don't say, oh, good, I'm glad I'm not rich. You can be rich and do this too. 8, all time is one time. Time is more complex than a linear progression of past, present, and future. Cayce taught that all time is one time and that eternity is found in the quality of how one experiences the infinite in the present moment. You can experience infinity right here, okay? There's no such thing in time. Go into that space. Meditation. Number 9, success cannot be measured by material standards. I just said that. Spiritual progress should not be measured by what you have or success. And if you're just going after that and that and that, you'll find that there is no ultimate goal. You'll never get there. And then you're going to look back and realize it didn't really matter. However, if you're enjoying what you're doing, if you're helping other people doing it, I happen to love what I do for a living and I get paid for it. Sometimes I don't get paid for it. Keep that beautiful balance, but you are still a human being. Take care of yourself and your family, but do it by doing good things, not just for the material standards. There's a nice balance. 10, courage is essential to any spiritual growth. Courage, my friend. Simply having high ideals is insufficient. One must have the courage to live them. Courage is defined not as the absence of fear, but as, I don't say absence of fear, I say break through it, but as the heart-centered decision that there is something more important than that fear. You break through it. These are my teachings. 11, evil is real and comes in many forms. Of course, it's real, right? But it has no power over you. Evil presents itself in daily life through many faces, such as extremism, rebellious willfulness, or simple lack of awareness. Individuals deal with external evil only to the extent they are willing to meet and recognize it within themselves. If you're looking at evil out there, what's going on here? Hate, anger, blame, separation, not taking responsibility. You're going to be more focused on it. It's going to be part of your, I call rendering, creation. Learn to stand up for yourself. Yes, yes. The meek doesn't mean the weak. Learn to say no when it's needed, right? Sometimes you have to do tough love, spiritual health. And by the way, let's be careful about what we identify as tough love. Spiritual health requires defining and defending personal boundaries. This includes learning to be self-assertive and expressing anger appropriately through proper direction rather than suppression. So if you have anger, okay, take a look at that. Where's that coming from? You never really should feel anger, but you're going to as a human. Don't suppress it. Say, where's it coming from? And absolutely don't blame others for that. What's going on in here? Let's talk about the 3 levels of the mind. You're going to get a lot of information today. His philosophy identifies 3 distinct levels of the human mind that interact and influence one another: the conscious, the subconscious, the superconscious, the one consciousness. Together, the subconscious and superconscious represent what's generally termed the unconscious. The unconscious mind, we know what that is. It's ego. It's the logical, rational part of our awareness that makes daily decisions as to what to wear or which path to take. Why? Because the ego has to protect itself. So it's always going to look after just me. It represents only 10% of the total mental capacity. It's the thinking mind. So as soon as you stop thinking, you can go into this massive space. And the part of ourselves we most closely identify with, the I or me, that's separation. Physical connection, it manifests in the physical plane primarily through the 5 senses, okay? But the ego sometimes going into negative spaces, so sometimes those manifestations aren't what you want. Number 2, the subconscious mind. Lying beneath the surface, the subconscious is the giant of the mental system operating 24 hours a day to record every experience into permanent files. That's about 90% of mental capacity. It's the realm of the soul and serves as the storehouse of the memory, including those previous incarnations. So all that energy comes in is part of the subconscious mind. You do carry that energy. You don't just let go of anything, but you can shift things. You can shift stories. You can transform. That's the whole point. You learn, transform, break through. It is completely literal and obedient. It doesn't judge or reason, but simply executes the commands and seeds planted there by the conscious mind. So if I believe it, it does it. It acts as a bridge between the outer conscious self and the spiritual superconscious self, right? Okay, it's directing that power that you hold. Let's talk about the superconscious mind, number 3. It's the highest level of the mind and the part of the individual that is made in the image of the Creator. All of you hold this. It cannot be any other way. Divine connection. It's a direct channel to universal intelligence, God, source, and is nearly indistinguishable from God's consciousness. It appears to be separate. It is not. Attributes. It's not limited by time or space and knows things the conscious mind has never learned. It is on a much higher level that you can't even explain to people. Communication, it speaks to the individual through intuition, meaningful dreams, and synchronicities. I love sleeping. My dreams are amazing. And I remember all of them. I go into that theta, and boy, it is happening, and it's fun, and it's an adventure. Do you know your dreams? Start to pay attention. The source. Cayce insisted that this level of awareness, his own superconscious mind, was the actual source of the information provided in his psychic reading. So one of you said, Edgar Cayce channeled, and I said, I actually don't think he did. Channeling for me is somebody who's saying, oh, so-and-so came through. I'm not making fun, but they do that. So-and-so came through, and they're stepping aside, and that's not necessary. Edgar Cayce didn't do that. He went into the superconscious mind, and he, as the superconscious self, accessed the information and shared it. He let his mind and the lower parts of him, the 2 lower parts of him, step aside for him to access that information without this making a judgment because he was a very religious man. So we had to shut that down. That was the only way he was going to get that information clean. But there was no other party coming in and speaking through him. It was him. So let's talk about the relationship between the levels. Unlike many psychological models that view these levels as distinct floors of a house, which I do, Cayce used the analogy of a funnel or spiral. So I think the house is easier for me because, like, you're experiencing this with this frequency, you get on the elevator, you go this frequency. But he says funnel or spiral. He taught that to reach the unlimited potential of the superconscious, an individual must pass through their subconscious memories. It's required by everybody, okay? This means that the spiritual quest to connect with the divine often involves a profound encounter with one's own shadow. Don't be afraid of it. Okay, it's just part of the energy field. Fears, desires, resentments stored in the subconscious. Real manifestation and spiritual growth occur when these three levels are brought into alignment and harmony. So they're usually fighting one another. I'll give you an example. If you don't break through it, you cannot become the new person, the different person that thinks and believes different things that are unlimited. I had a cousin. She came and stayed with my best friend, who happened to be my roommate at the time. And she doesn't come from a very strong background and didn't think very highly of herself and was always in survival mode. So she came and lived with my friend and I, who didn't have any money at the time, but we lived like we did. And we lived like queens, princesses. Well, she stayed over for a couple nights. She actually went to a party. And the second morning, I woke up and she was gone. Why did she leave? She didn't feel like she was good enough or that she fit in. And it was an opportunity for her to go into a different world, but she didn't feel like she was good enough. If you do not switch your thinking, you will remain in that world and you're going to leave and go back here where it's safe because you know it. Do you want to transition into that beautiful one consciousness? You have to let go of what you think you are that is below that because every one of you holds that power. Don't you be checking out in the morning. You stay there and say, I can be this. And she wanted to. She just didn't feel like she was good enough. You are good enough. So this is going to be a two-parter because I'm hitting a lot of information. And you're going to love this. His philosophy, let's talk about the superconscious mind. It's the highest level of human awareness. It is made in the image of the Creator. It serves as the direct channel to universal intelligence, and you hold it now. It's the boundless first consciousness, God, that exists prior to material creation. It always has been, always will be. And then material creation came and always does, creates, disappears, creates, dissolves, transitions. All right? That's what we are right now. But the essence of us is that original consciousness. You are both. The superconscious mind is often described as the mind of spirit at one-ment with God, a thing apart for earth. Unlike the conscious mind, which is built in the material world, we're aware of things. The superconscious is a thing apart from anything earthly. It only becomes knowable when the individual lifts their soul self and portions of their conscious mind through deep meditation. I know some of you don't like meditation, but what it does is it forces you to watch the thoughts, and there's no right or wrong way to meditation. Watch the thoughts, but fight nothing. The one thing you don't want to do is battle anything. I shouldn't have these thoughts, but I do. What are they? Watch them like clouds. The source of wisdom. Cayce insisted that his own superconscious mind, not an extra. I'm going to emphasize this. This is why when you go into these channelers and the tarot card readers, and none of them have the same results, right? If you don't like what you heard, go listen to somebody else. Cayce insisted that his own superconscious mind, the one you hold and are connected to, not separate, is not an external spirit or deceased soul. It was the actual source of the information provided in 99% of his readings. He was accessing the very information of the source of which he is, not somebody else or separate. It's a level of awareness where all experience is accessible and solutions to any problem are available. You have it right now. One consciousness. You're just getting in the way with all this other stuff you brought forward from past lives, all this thing. Mommy and daddy didn't love me. Everybody's to blame. The government. Take that responsibility. One of the 12 principles. Post-physical existence, when the physical body is laid aside at death, that which was the superconscious becomes the entity's active consciousness, while the subconscious becomes the intellect of the soul body, the soul. All right? So these energy fields don't discontinue. Nothing dies. Even the body itself, the physical body, dissolves but transforms into another energy form. Let's talk about the funnel analogy. Cayce used a spiral or funnel model to explain that to connect with the unlimited potential of superconscious, one must pass through their own subconscious memories, deal with it, right? Drop the stories. It is. I chose it. What did I learn from it? It often involves encountering one's shadow, unconscious fears and resentments. So this is the funnel. You have to go through it, and then you access it. And the more you go through it, the more you dissolve these barriers to get to that top of the funnel. Isn't that beautiful? Universal intelligence is all things, is the one universal consciousness within which all individual points of consciousness are awakened and given freedom. The mind of God. This is the realm of thought that existed before the physical universe. It is sometimes referred to as the universal mind, the collective unconsciousness or source. The collective consciousness is when we go into all-knowing. The M field, contemporary interpretations of this concept call it the M field or source field, a source of limitless light and energy that exists beyond time and space, that is not judging anything, that just is, creates, and we interact with it. Universal records, every action, every thought, and word makes an impression on this universal consciousness. Your thought right now is doing that. And it affects me because you and I are connected. Nothing is ever lost or done in secret. Oopsie. Cayce referred to this cosmic database as the Akashic records, a storehouse of all patterns of energy that have ever occurred. This is the energy, actions, and choices create the Akashic records. It's changing. It changes all the time, constantly changing. Nothing is actually in stone or permanent Akashic record. Because if you change a thought about your past and now it's positive, that thread, that beautiful thread changes because it's not traumatic anymore. It's a moving, beautiful piece of creative art. Scientific parallels sources note that modern quantum physics describes a similar concept through the quantum field or unified field theory, where non-local information and entanglement link everything in the universe into a single ocean of oneness. My thoughts are linking to everything, creating. The relationship between the two, the superconsciousness acts as the individual's receiver or antenna for the broadcasts of universal intelligence. Manifestation, real manifestation, occurs when the three minds work in alignment. So watch that ego down at the bottom. The conscious mind sets an intention, the subconscious accepts it as truth, and the superconscious connects the individual to the infinite field of possibilities, probabilities, universal intelligence to bring necessary synchronicities. Your wish is my command, and it's coming up through that funnel. When you clear it out, you open it up, and you have no barriers. And that shadow, it dissolves. The path of return, the ultimate purpose of human existence, is to move from the narrow focus of the conscious mind toward the superconscious to regain the celestial birthright of companionship with the Creator. We are now becoming one with it in a way that always existed, but that we chose limitations within, and the limitations are no longer there. We realize we created them, and we can uncreate them. Unified truth, while individuals appear separate at the level of the superconscious and universal intelligence, they are two poles of a single flow. And the distinction between the self and the other, God, is revealed as a temporary illusion of the material plane. So we have a lot to cover in part 2, but I hope this cleared up what consciousness is. What is one consciousness? Why do we have these other levels we go through? How to get into the one consciousness and how all of this works within the Akashic records. I hope you comprehend what we just talked about and how powerful you are, and that what Edgar Cayce did is available to all people. He said that. And all of these levels are in each of us, including access to all answers, and you can start working on that now. Are you leaving the party because you don't feel you fit in, but you really would like to, right? Oh, and you tell yourself, oh, they're wealthy and they're not good people. That's a story, because that's not even true. Everyone is beautiful and perfect. It's what you do with it. It has nothing to do with money or what your background is or what your skin color, your culture. It has nothing to do with that. Those were just challenges that you chose. And you can get past any of them in the material world, because the true essence of you is perfect one consciousness. That's the game, my friend. That's what we came here to play. If you don't think so, well, then you can continue to suffer, but you don't have to, because you are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. I hope you'll explore my description, join my private membership. Please share my videos and let YouTube know that you want more of learning how to access that golden era that we're going into, that we are actually in. It takes a while. It doesn't happen overnight. Quit waiting for somebody to tell you some prediction that's going to change the world in one day. It can't if you don't have your one consciousness in check. You won't even know it happened. That's what we're supposed to be working on right now. Are you ready for that? It's a beautiful world out there. All we have to do is create it, render it. It exists already. You want to shift into it with me? I hope you'll join my private membership, because I'm going to speak with you live every week, and you can ask me any questions. And I love Edgar Cayce. I'm digging deeper and deeper into him. I think he was an amazing person and an example of what everybody is capable of. I'll say it again. You are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. That is from the Master Key System. Should we explore that next? I don't know. We'll see. Let's do part 2 of Edgar Cayce. I'll see you in a couple days. Sending you my blessings, you perfect, beautiful light being. Namaste.